agenda, I'm going to be taking a look at my new tent. That's right, I said I have a tent. If you haven't seen any of my more recent videos, I have mentioned the tent. I did have it set up one time. I slept in it one night and didn't really get a whole lot of experience with it. This is not a review, repeat, not a review. Like I said, I've only had it set up one time. So I guess it's more or less a second look instead of a first look, but we're going to call it a first look video. It's the Tarptent Stratospire LI two-person tent. As you can see, this is basically the packed size of it. There are struts. I'm going to set it up outside in a few minutes. There are carbon fiber struts that go through here. I can take those out to make this smaller, but we'll take a look at that as we go. Anyways, how did I end up with a tent, being a hammocker for years and years? The basic story is I was camping at Raccoon Creek State Park and just staying in one of the shelters overnight one night, just a real quick overnight. And I happened to run into somebody who I knew up there, Mary Jo. And Mary Jo was camping in her tent that day. So I went over, I was taking a look at her tent, and I said, you know, if I ever get a tent, that's the tent I want. It just, it checks off all the boxes for me. It is Dyneema, so ultra lightweight. It is a trekking pole tent, so, you know, which I've always said, if I ever had a tent, I would get a trekking pole tent since I'm carrying trekking poles anyways. So it checks off that box. This is a double wall tent, which I really wanted to have a double wall tent if I ever got one. I don't want to have to deal with the condensation. I know there's going to be condensation on the outer wall, but that's something I'll have to live with. And also, I like that this tent has two doors, because some of you who I hike with know that I have a hate-hate relationship with zippers. And I'm sure that the first time this door zipper gets stuck on this, I'll at least have a second way out of the tent. And when I first came across this tent, you know, I had already heard about the Z-Pax Duplex, which is a single wall tent, which kind of iffy about having a single wall tent. Now the Durston X-Mid, I'm not sure if I had heard of that, if he was even out at that time, because this was about 2 years ago I first came across this tent. This does weigh about 10 ounces more than either the Duplex or the X-Mid. But yeah, it's like 30 ounces with the stakes included. I believe I have the stakes inside here. It comes with 6 stakes. I replaced them because I didn't like the stakes that this came with. So, but if you want to really set this up with more adjustments, you can take 8 stakes, which I do have 8 stakes. I think I put 8 in here. We'll find out once I get it set up outside. So with that said, I'm going to get this outside. The producer and me wants to set up the tripod outside and speed up the video and add the Benny Hill funny theme music underneath while I try to set this up by myself. But it's pretty windy outside. My tripod is kind of on its last legs, so to speak. But yeah, we'll get this outside and set it up, and then I'll point out a few of the interesting things about it. So let's go ahead and do that now. Okay, there we go. It took about 5 minutes. The wind was just destroying me as I was trying to do this. But yeah, that's basically the setup. So yeah, like I said, I got a door at this end. I can go unzip it from the top or the bottom. We got vents up here. Okay, so there's vents there. These sides are vents. These are pitch lock, I think is what they're called. I can do that and just stuff that underneath like that for more ventilation. One on the other side also. You got these, you can tighten things up with these here on each of the 6 tie-out points. Now I can also take these and tie these out with a separate line, one on each side. I'd like to get this top ridge line a little tighter, but I have not figured it out yet. So like I said, doors on both sides. This is the other door here. So take a look at some of the inside stuff going on. Okay, now this is pretty cool. I don't need 2 hands to do this, but I'm going to roll this up, and you can see right here there is a magnet. This will just magnetize onto that. It's not very strong though, so I've had it, the one time I did have it set up, it did come undone a few times. Let's see if I can do this with one hand. Probably not. Some of the adjustments, I can go ahead and adjust this pole. I can, loosen the flick locks and move that up or down on both of them. Also have adjustments. I believe there's an adjustment up top here. Yeah, right here. I can tighten up the interior mesh section a little bit right there. Same thing on the other side. There's adjustments down there in the corner. I can pull those out to tighten up the bathroom floor. Let's try that. As you can see, there's a lot of vestibule space on both sides. I believe the ceiling height is about 43 inches. The floor going across is 45 inches according to the website, which means I can fit easily my 25-inch pad in here with 10 inches to spare on either side. Some of the things you can do, you can set this interior up without the fly, obviously on a nice day, or you can set the fly up without the interior. Probably not going to mess with either one of those options though. Going inside, we have the door here. As long as you open the door on the right hand side, the interior mesh door will be right in front of you here. And one of the things that people were saying that they liked about this is that the pole is not in your way when you're climbing in and out of it. Another thing that people say they like is the door hangs like this when you open it up instead of falling on the ground. Not sure, not being a tenter, I'm not sure how well I would need that. I don't like that I have to tie this. If I want this to be open, I'd have to actually physically tie it instead of like a Velcro thing or something. There's two pockets. You got a pocket here and on the opposite side. I'm just gonna keep my earplugs and sleeping pills in there. So they're always ready to go. I am gonna run a separate ridge line one of these days. I'm gonna run a ridge line across just a piece of zinget so I can have somewhere to hang a light and to hang socks and stuff to dry. It'll run across the top here. Now I do need to get that, because of condensation, I need to get that fly not touching this part right here. So that's going to be some adjustment there. Oh, some of the optional things you can get for this. Okay, you don't have to use trekking poles. Tarptent actually sells, the carbon fiber poles you can buy separately. They have a sidecar thing you can put in the vestibules for like a dog or maybe a small kid. So they're kind of protected from bugs. Another thing is because the pole's going upside down. See how it fits in this grommet up here? Tarptent sells adapters. I'll show you, I got one in my pocket. These little adapters kind of go on this part of the handle of your trekking pole, so you can flip them up the other way. These things are a major pain in the butt. They need to make them like elastic so that they fit on the poles easier. They're just super hard to put on the poles. So I'm just gonna go like this. They do make a ridge line with like a ridge line organizer you can put on here, but I don't need that. I'm probably not going to use a ground sheet. I think this should be sufficient enough, hopefully, this floor. So let's say I wanted this to be completely open on this side. I would have to run this tie out over here somewhere, and then because I'm going to have to take this out of the ground. Okay, so when I take this out of the ground, without this being tied down, this pole is just going to fall over. So I could run this over, okay, and then what you can do, you see this little clip right here. If you run this over, if you tie this off out there somewhere, you can completely shut this side off. Clip these two pieces can clip together to make a flat wall here. Supposedly, if you're short on room, because this is a pretty big footprint. You back up. So if you're short on room, you could, like I said, make this into a single flat wall, but then you would also have to have this tied out to keep the wall from falling down. So it kind of defeats the purpose, I think, in a way. These are carbon fiber struts. I'm not going to take them out now, but you can take them out if you want to just, smash this tent out into a smaller area. Because the way it is now, I can only really carry it on my big pack. I don't have my smaller pack. I don't have enough straps to really get it on the way I need it to on the outside of the pack. So it does come with a stuff sack, which I don't know where that went. I gotta go find my stuff sack. Okay, the stuff sack is Dyneema, so make sure it doesn't blow halfway down in the river like it just did for me. When you get the Dyneema version of this, because they make a sil nylon version, The Sil nylon version, you have to seam seal it yourself, but this comes already seam taped. This is, you know, comparable with the Z-Plex Duplex and the Thurston X Mid, price wise, and like I said, a little bit heavier. This one is a little bit heavier. I just happened to be camping late last fall, and I was talking to a friend of mine, Smokey. He said that he had this tent and he was selling it because he was getting the X Mid. So he sold this to me for a great deal, and it's basically brand new because he takes care of his stuff like really good. So, you know, this is basically a brand new tent for almost like, you know, 150, 200 bucks off of the list price. I think that about covers it. So yeah, I guess I'm gonna get it out on trail in March, so about a month from now when I'm filming this. So hopefully that's the plan. That's all I got for this one, and thanks for watching.